Today we're checking out the first lithium power station that I genuinely think could replace my entire custom 12-volt system, be a cheaper solution overall, and actually do a better job. Hey guys, and welcome back to another Spotlight Sunday episode, of which I take a close look at four-wheel drive or camping related products to see if they're right for your needs. Today we're here with iTechworld's brand new PS2800 Pro, and it's the first full-size lithium power station on the channel since, I think, 2024, for one good reason. After testing out a bunch of these units from different brands, different makes, different models, I kind of felt like we'd seen it all with these units, and all that really separated one from another was a bit of extra capacity, a bit less weight, or a few extra outlets. So I decided to stop reviewing them altogether until one came along with some new tricks that actually excited me, and here we are. The main issue I've always had with lithium power stations is that they're awesome for weekender trips, but to me anyway, they're not ideal for long-term touring because they're incredibly slow to charge off 12 volt while you're driving between your campsites, and there wasn't an effective way to connect them into your existing hardwired 12 volt accessories, things like fridges, switches, custom lighting, outlets, fuse boxes, and all that. This unit solves both those issues, which we'll get to in just a minute, but first I suppose I should back up a little bit and give you guys some general info as to what this unit actually is and what it can do. To start with, if you're unfamiliar with lithium power stations like these, they're basically an all-in-one solution designed to take care of all your power needs in one compact box. So you don't have to do a single bit of wiring, and you can easily take this in and out of your vehicle, your caravan, your camper trailer, or your house as you please. They obviously have a big lithium battery built in, an inverter to give you some 240 volt outlets, 12 volt outlets to run fridges and whatnot, USBs for charging your devices, AC, solar and DC inputs for charging the unit back up again, and a screen to monitor everything. Now, how you like to camp, what you like to power, and how long you like to stay off grid is really going to govern what size of power station you need. There's heaps of different shapes and sizes out there. I'm pretty sure the iTechworld range has close to 10 different models, for example, so it's worth taking the time to work out exactly what you need. This particular model, the PS2800 Pro, has a 2160 watt hour or 180 amp hour battery, which is honestly pretty huge. To put that in perspective, an average 40 litre chest fridge only uses around 25 to 35 amp hours per day. So this thing could easily run that for 5 to 7 days straight without a single bit of charge coming in. When it comes to battery technology, not all lithium batteries are created equal. There's actually a bunch of different chemistries out there, but the main two you'll come across in everyday life is LiFePO4 and lithium ion. Now, lithium ion is what you'll find in most power tool batteries, and it's great at delivering a ton of power and of course being incredibly lightweight, which is why it's perfect for your power tool batteries, but these batteries normally need replacing at around 1,000 charge cycles. These power stations utilize LiFePO4 lithium technology instead, which is absolutely the better way to go for these larger power stations, because first and foremost, it's a lot more stable and safer, so no fires. And secondly, they're good for over 4,000 charge cycles, so your investment is going to last you for a lot longer too. To use that power, we've got an assortment of USB outlets on the front here, 2 USB Type A and 2 USB Type C. I do kind of wish we had a few more USB ports on the front here given the amount of real estate we have, but I suppose my use case is somewhat unique with the amount of camera gear I like to charge up on the road. On the left, we get a 12 volt cigarette lighter socket, which I suppose you could adapt to more USBs if you wanted to, 2 3 amp barrel connections, and a 25 amp XT60 outlet, which we'll circle back to in just a minute. For 240 volt power, which is really the main attraction to these units, we get 3 outlets on the side that are rated to a combined 2,800 watts. For context, the inverter in my canopy setup, which I wouldn't classify as being small, only puts out 2,000 watts. So this thing puts out more power and it's just all built in and ready to go. To give you an idea of what that can actually run in the real world, we're going to do a bit of a cook-up test here on the back of the car. So I've got my trusty induction cooker here and also my pod coffee machine. I use these both on a regular basis, and my inverter can actually run both of these appliances separately, but it can't run them at the same time, and that's something I'm always forgetting, and I'm constantly tripping out my poor inverter. So for this test, as it starts to rain, we're going to do exactly that and run both of these at the same time to cook myself up a tasty breakfast of champions. Now, based on my rough calculations, I think this will push the unit to its limit, perhaps even over that 2,800 watt rating. So I guess we'll see what happens. So I'll start by plugging my induction cooker into the power station using one of these side sockets there, toggling our inverter on with the press of a button and getting my bacon underway in this pan. Add a bit of oil. So with our bacon cooking, I can see we're consuming 1,260 watts of power or thereabouts. Time to get my pod coffee underway too. So I'll chuck a pod in the machine, plug our pod machine into the power station as well, turn the machine on, and our power jumps up to 2,710, 2,900 watts, 2,910. Okay, so we went above our 2,800 watt rating. Everything is still running. All right, that power consumption has dropped down, so my machine is up to temperature. So we'll press a button there. 2,930 watts. Wow, so we're definitely going above that rating of 2,800, and so far, no errors have been shown and everything seems to be working as you'd expect. 2,911 watts there. It's definitely jumping all over the place, and it isn't sitting above 2,800 for long, so I'm not sure how that would go for long-term use. But look at this, we're in the middle of the bush, induction cooking some delicious bacon for breakfast, which I'm probably burning. Got my pod coffee being made on the side here. Absolutely great. Oh yes, freshly cooked bacon and a pod coffee in the middle of the bush. What more could you ask for? And I reckon I'm going to have to start incorporating cooking into more of my future videos, because normally I don't get a chance to eat during these longer shoots. So this and this is a rare treat, and we're going to pick this video up in just a minute. Well, that worked pretty perfectly, but our battery has taken a little bit of a hit as a result. So we were on 100% at the start of the test, and now we're down to 91% capacity remaining. So don't buy a unit like this thinking you're going to be able to air fry and induction cook all day long. It's just not how it works out in reality. Similar to the system I have installed in my canopy, it's awesome to be able to run this stuff from time to time, but you do have to be conscious of how much power you have available so that you don't run out. Beyond these things though, you'll pretty much be able to run whatever you want with this device. We're talking air fryers, dual induction cookers, microwaves, ice makers, obviously your smaller stuff like Starlink, laptop chargers and all that. Basically, just check the power draw of the appliance you're wanting to run, and if it's under 2,800 watts, you'll be sweet. On the front here, as you saw earlier, it's got a neat little built-in screen that tells us how much power we've got left and how much power we're using. It's purely just a visual guide though, and we can't change any settings on the device itself. For that, you'll need to use your phone, because we can connect to the PS2800 Pro with Bluetooth, wirelessly check and control the unit from anywhere around camp, jump into the settings to make any changes, and even set up notifications to ping your phone if the unit is going flat. As for the physical size and weight, the PS2800 Pro measures in at 40 centimeters long, 27 centimeters deep, and 34 centimeters tall. It weighs 21.7 kilos, which is definitely a fair bit of weight to carry around and lift in and out of your vehicle. But considering everything this unit has built inside, I reckon that's actually pretty impressive. And I almost forgot, on the very top of the unit, it looks like a built-in handle, but this is actually a pop-up light. Honestly, I don't know how often you'd realistically need a light built into the top of your power station, but it is a pretty cool design, and it's nice to see something a little bit different to what I normally see on these power stations. Now, you guys know I like to cover both the good and the bad in these episodes to give you guys the full picture. And now we've covered all the bells and whistles, I thought it's also worth mentioning that with these power stations in general, because they're all built into the one unit, if one of your components dies, you can't just easily swap it out and get that replaced, like I could do, for example, if my inverter was to fail in my setup. And while you can buy expansion batteries to get even more capacity, you can't upgrade individual components, so make sure you're happy with the outlets and the features, because that's what you're stuck with for the life of the unit. When it comes to charging, lithium power stations almost always come with the same three options: AC power through a standard 240 volt outlet, solar power by connecting our own solar blanket, and DC power while we're driving to camp. And as you can see, the PS2800 Pro comes with the same three options, and it does include cables to charge off all three. However, it takes all three of those options to a whole new level. Starting with AC power, normally I'd expect a big unit like this to take 5 or 6 hours to fully charge that massive 180 amp hour battery, but this thing has what's called a bi-directional inverter. Now, to be honest, that was something that was brand new to me, but what it basically means is that this unit can charge at up to 1800 watts of AC power, getting it from empty to full in around an hour and a half. It's honestly crazy, to the point they've actually put an adjustment dial on the front here to turn that charge rate down if your AC outlet can't provide the full 1800 watts. Where I reckon that rapid AC charging is particularly handy is if you're on a road trip and you notice the battery is getting a little bit low, you can just call into a Macca's or a Servo or anywhere that provides 240 volt outlets for use, get a bit of lunch for an hour or so, and you'll have topped up a couple of days worth of charge. Moving on to solar charging, and I was hoping the sun was going to have come out from behind the clouds by now, but no such luck. These units have dual 600 watt inputs on the side that run through the built-in MPPT solar regulator, meaning you can plug your solar panels directly in and get the most efficient charge rate possible. iTechworld has also just released these brand new folding 47 volt solar panels. This one here is a 300 watt model, and they've been specifically designed for their power stations. The batteries in these units are close to 50 volts, so using a higher voltage solar blanket like this compared to a standard roughly 20 volt blanket means there's less conversion for the unit to do, resulting in more efficient and faster charging. So definitely worth looking into if you're going to be mainly charging off solar. And finally, we have 12 volt charging while we're driving to our campsite destination. And this is normally where units like this start to fall down, in my opinion, because they include a cigarette lighter cable like this. And this unit's no different. It came with this cable right here, but you just can't get enough power through a standard cigarette lighter socket to put any sort of bulk charge into big lithium power stations like this. We're talking more than 20 hours to fully charge the battery. This unit has another option entirely though, and granted it is a separate piece to buy, so factor that into the equation. But this is a power station fast charger from iTechworld, and it's finally a fast way to charge power stations while you're driving along. Think of it a bit like a DC-DC charger. We connect our alternator feed into one end, the power station into the other end, and get a charge rate of 500 watts, taking the unit from empty to full in just over 4 hours, which, in my opinion, finally makes units like these viable for long-term touring setups. Okay, moving on to the bit that I'm personally most excited about with this new power station, and it's something you will start seeing popping up on other new iTechworld power stations as well, which is this little outlet on the front just here. So this is a 25 amp 12 volt outlet with a standard XT60 connection, and what it means is we can finally use big power stations like these to run full custom 12 volt fit outs like I've got here in my canopy setup. Normally, if you wanted a full custom 12 volt system like that, then running it off a power station was sort of out of the question because there was no real way to connect all your accessories to run off the power station until now. So to give you a bit of a demo as to what I mean, I've got here a XT60 to Anderson lead. I'm going to plug this into the front of the unit just here. I'm now going to disconnect my entire canopy battery system using my resettable circuit breaker just there. And now we can take the Anderson lead just here, plug it into one of the inlets on my 12 volt control hub up here, toggle on our DC power, and just like that, my entire canopy 12 volt system is now running off the PS2800 Pro, and that's my central locking automatically locking itself because it's detected a new power source. Now keep in mind we can only draw 25 amps, but honestly at 12 volt that is heaps of power. It works out to close to 300 watts, and right now I've got 4 huge lights running in the roof, a light strip on the door just here, my phone is on charge, my Bluetooth speaker is on charge, and I'll toggle on the big 115 litre upright fridge, and I've just switched it over to freezer mode as well, so it should be using the most amount of power possible. So I can hear that kicking into life right now, and even with all that running, we're only just using 103, 104 watts of power, so close to a third of what this unit can provide. Cable management will definitely play a bit of a factor though if you like a nice neat setup like I do, because all your inlets and outlets are a bit more exposed on a setup like this compared to a hard mounted system. So it's just a matter of weighing up the pros and cons for your specific needs. But I reckon that is a very cool option to have, and it makes units like these a lot more versatile. Well, that pretty much brings us to the end of this video, but one more bonus use case I thought I'd mention for power stations in general is power outages. So where Bianca and I live, the power is constantly going out, and having something like this to keep our big fridge running so our food doesn't go bad, or even power my home office so I can still get work done when the power's out, has been really handy for us. Now, I wouldn't necessarily buy one of these just for that purpose, but if you're already getting one for camping and caravanning, you'd be surprised at just how often they come in handy. Well, as the rain starts to fall from above, I guess we're going to wrap this video up there. If you guys have any questions about the PS2800 Pro, including if it still works after all this rain, let me know in that comment section down below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll catch you in the next one.